welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, the Buffalo Bills episode. So yes, we will be talking about the Buffalo Bills 7-on-7 team. May not be as bad as you think, but all five of us are here this week. No guests, just the five of us regulars. So I think that's all I got. So let's get started. Drew, you get to lead off again this week. So who is your Bills quarterback?
I went with Josh Allen.
As did I.
I did too.
Yeah, so did I.
Yep, that makes five.
I did give Jim Kelly a look.
Yeah.
No, yeah, obviously
Probably
I
Hall
looked
of
at Jim
Famer.
Kelly, but
Yeah.
I thought Josh played long enough. I mean, he's already got 26,000 yards, 195 touchdowns. He's got one All-Pro season, which is wild to think about, but just all the quarterbacks now is crazy. Couple MVP finishes, maybe even one this year. Something crazy I thought, looking at his stats, if you look at the team records, if you ignore the first year when they went 5-6 and he didn't start early games, he goes 10-6, 13-3, 11-6, 13-3, 11-6, 13-4. I just thought that was each year they flip back and forth. I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird to look at every other year. They went 13 and then 11, and their counterparts when the seasons changed or whatever. I thought that was kind of funny to look at, but he's a little bit more mobile than Jim Kelly. I think his arm's a little bit stronger than Jim Kelly. It's for this kind of thing, threading the needle, trying to get it, I think it'd be better in this scenario. So
I agree. He has more arm talent than Kelly did. Josh Allen has a cannon for an arm.
He has a huge arm, like you said. He's more athletic, and I mean Josh Allen's a beast. He really is.
Yep. And he knows how to pick a wife.
he does.
He's doing all right. Yeah.
He's doing all right in life.
Yeah.
By the way, I think he's an underrated rushing quarterback. When we bring up rushing quarterbacks in current NFL, you hear names like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, and I'm probably forgetting somebody, but Josh Allen is a hell of a runner, and he gets a boatload of rushing touchdowns every year, way more than those other guys we're talking about.
Last 2 years he's had double digits. Last year at 15. This year he's got 12.
He has his own unique style of running too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mixture of speed and power.
So he's got over 4,000 yards rushing for his career.
And 65 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I bet if you look at rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks, I bet he's already climbing the list dramatically.
Got to be.
Oh, he's already with. I bet he could catch Cam. Cam has the record. I think Cam Newton.
I think you're right.
I bet he could catch him in a couple years.
Yeah,
I think Cam's probably somewhere between 70 and 80, probably.
that's a good thing to look up.
I mean, does Lamar have though?
Lamar doesn't have very many actually. He has a bunch of yards, but he doesn't.
I know
have...
he
had the yards
he just
record
got the
now.
yards. Yeah, I didn't know how
Yeah.
many touchdowns he had.
Yeah, he usually gets 5 or 6 a year. Like Cam Newton and Josh Allen, they were big goal line guys. They plow down there. Lamar doesn't.
I don't
the goal
know
line stuff.
how you hold this for a quarterback, but I mean, for his career, he averages 5.5 yards a carry.
I mean,
I don't know how you
Pretty good.
I don't know what other quarterbacks is but
Cam Newton's record is 75.
yeah. So I mean,
So he has 10 more. So he could literally do that next year.
yeah.
So.
when it says, it says he led the league 1 year in yards per carry, 6.3. I guess, and that's for everyone. I would assume.
Probably have the minimum number of attempts. He must have made the minimum number.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of running backs that qualify for the rushing stuff.
I don't know. I guess you don't really see that often from a quarterback to lead. To get that many carries and be able to
have enough carries to qualify to.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I mean, you get Lamar and Hurts and Russell Wilson back in the day had some big rushing years.
Fields with the Bears.
Yeah. Vic did it back in the day a few times.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every year we get a couple more guys come into the league that run around at the quarterback position. So, yeah. Josh Allen's 7th in rushing yards for quarterbacks and yards. So, I mean, he's also not too far down that list. He'll pass Steve Young next year for sure. He's only 96 yards behind Steve Young for 6th. He's got 800 yards to go to catch Randall Cunningham, and then another 600 for Russell Wilson, another 200 for Cam, another 400 for Vic, and then another 60 for Lamar there, but Lamar's obviously still picking him up. So is Russell Wilson, I guess. So interesting, but he'll probably end up his career top 3 in rushing yards for a quarterback.
And he'll probably have some insane rushing touchdown numbers.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have that to himself.
Imagine if he gets over like 100 career rushing touchdowns plus his passing numbers.
He could be the first quarterback to have like over 300 passing and 100 rushing.
That'd be pretty insane.
That'd be nasty.
That would be.
You think about this too, like every year when they're trying to make the MVP case for Lamar Jackson, they talk about, well, you got to add his rushing yards too. Well, what's more impressive than yards is touchdowns.
Right.
Like, why don't we add in the rushing touchdowns for
Didn't
Josh Allen?
Didn't he go on some streak of like the most games in a row with like 3+ touchdowns? Or something
Oh,
crazy.
that I
This
don't
stupid this year, like adding passing and rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Well, that one game he had receiving, rushing, and passing. He had 5 total touchdowns.
Caught one in that one game.
Yeah.
Didn't he have like 2 or 3 straight years where he had over 40 total touchdowns? He had like a streak of like 2 or 3 years where if he combined his passing and rushing, it was over 40. And I think Lamar won one of his MVPs during one of those years for Allen. Well, it must have been Lamar's last one.
Yeah, because he got 40 again this year, barely. He had 28 passing and then 12 rushing, so he got right on the dot with 40.
And he got over 40 last year, right? Because he had the 15 rushing
And 29, yeah.
yeah. And then what about the year before?
He had 35 and
7.
So that's 3 years in a
Yeah.
row right there.
then he had 36 and
I think it's 6.
okay,
So
yeah.
4 years in a row.
And then the next year he had 37, so he needs 3 rushing touchdowns. In 2020.
And he doesn't have an
2020.
Yeah.
He had 8.
Okay. And then he only had 20 passing touchdowns the year before, so it probably ends there.
Yeah, it's all in.
So since 2020, so 5 years. Is that right?
Over 40
Yeah.
total touchdowns every year.
Yeah.
5-year span.
Lamar has what, maybe 1 year over 40?
He threw for 42 this year. So
I guess I didn't know. So 2, because I think his first MVP, he led the NFL in passing touchdowns, and then I'm guessing he had a handful rushing.
I don't know. He doesn't get. It's weird. He doesn't get very many.
He gets like 5 or 6 usually, somewhere around there. Like I said, he doesn't get the big red zone runs that Allen and like Newton get.
But I feel like every time I watch him, I see him break a 30 or 40 yard run. He just never takes it to the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying like I just don't see.
His highest for his career is 7. This year he only had 4.
Yeah.
So
I just don't remember if he got over 40 in that first MVP year.
He led the league in 2019, which would have been as his first MVP.
Yeah, because he leads the league.
He threw for 36.
Yeah.
he had 7.
So yeah, he did it then.
So he's had 2 seasons over 40 then, probably.
He's another one that's weird though. Like he threw for 36 that year, and he threw for 41 this year. But then he couldn't even get to the 20s 2 other years. Like he threw 16 and 17, and then he's got 26 and 24. So like, it's weird. Like you go 4 straight years where you can barely get to over 20, and then or couldn't even get there. But then you got 2 monster years on the other side of it.
Well, he's in a perfect scenario right now because he has Derrick Henry. So the defense is at the focus on Lamar running, and then the most powerful runner in the league running, and then the play action game. So you have 3 huge things you have to study. Usually you just have 1 or 2. So he just feeds off Derrick Henry. Henry does the dirty work, and then he gets these easy, wide open passes, which I'm not like shitting on him for. I mean, you take what the defense gives you, and a lot of they're also focusing on his athleticism, so that opens up the over the middle play action passes to like Andrews and all that. So it's just he's in a perfect scenario right now for him, and I think as long as Henry's tearing it up, Lamar will be successful. Till maybe the playoffs.
Well, should we return to the Buffalo Bills?
Josh Allen is our quarterback, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes, he's our quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Wade, do you have another person for us?
I went with Andre Reed.
I also have Andre
so
Reed.
did I.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think most people consider him the greatest Bills receiver of all time. He was on the team that went to 4 straight Super Bowls. They have he's part of the famous trio of Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed, and he is now in the Hall of Fame, has, 7-time Pro Bowler and over 13,000 yards, 950 receptions, 87 touchdowns, and he played, getting 13,000 yards in the 80s and 90s is, it's impressive. It's a very physical era of football, and being able to,
So, Uncle Doug, question. So, this is the 80s and 90s. Andre Reed has 2 second-team All-Pros, no first teams. He has a couple seasons of some pretty big yardages. Who in the AFC was taking these All-Pros from Reed?
Trying to think who was.
Oh, is that how that works? Is all the All Pros by conference?
Oh, the All-Pros is the whole league, isn't it? You're right. Pro Bowls conference. I was thinking Pro Bowls.
I would
Yeah.
say.
You're right. So it's been the whole
So
league.
Jerry Rice.
There's
one.
Jerry
Jerry
Rice.
Rice.
Jerry Rice, they're literally like almost
like
the
Michael
entire time.
Irving?
Yeah, probably Michael Irving. What about Steve Largent in Seattle? Where did he fall?
Chris
Isn't that
Carter is going to be in part of this too.
Chris Carter.
Right, yeah. Chris Carter.
Randy Moss will be towards the end?
Yeah.
Because Largent is.
He's earlier.
all
I
the
think
records
he's
that Rice
late
broke.
70s, early 80s.
Like
He might have been early
Moss,
on.
T.O., and Marvin are all at the end of his
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't
Who-
thinking about Jerry Rice. That was a huge one.
Tim Brown.
Mhm.
Tim Brown played a lot of the same time as him.
Oh, Sterling Sharp before he got.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good one.
I'm sure he took a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some,
Yeah, there were some good ones there.
there were.
Because I'm thinking like 1994, he goes out and goes for 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, leads the league in yards catch, and doesn't make an All-Pro. I'm like, oh.
I'll look up the 1994.
1,300 yards back then was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to discredit like wide receivers now, but they've opened up the game to make to make it easier to pass, to make it more entertaining. And back then, like, it was very physical and very hard. Getting 1,000 yards was a big deal,
Dude.
and you were a badass. If you got
Andre
1,000
Reed
yards
was
season.
5th that year in yards. So Jerry Rice won, and then Henry Ellard of Washington.
My man, Henry.
Well, he was on Washington.
Oh. He did go to Washington at the end of his career.
Terrence Mathis from Atlanta was 3rd.
Okay.
Tim Brown was 4th, and Andre Reed was 5th.
Okay.
And then some of the other guys are Irving Fryer from Miami, Chris
Yeah.
Carter, Michael Irving, Jake Reed. Sterling Sharp's on here.
Oh yeah, old Henry.
So yeah, those are some of the receivers. Let's go.
A lot of the guys we named and a few other ones.
So let me go back to the 80s, just do a random year and see if there's any big names back then. Do 87, just see.
87, he only had 750 yards.
89 is his best year in the 80s.
89,
Yeah.
I'll do 89.
Yeah, he had 1,300 yards, getting 9 touchdowns. And almost 15 yards a catch.
Yeah, that was a nice season.
He was again 5th this year. Jerry again won. Sterling Sharp was 2nd.
Yeah.
Mark Carrier of Tampa Bay. Henry Eller this time in L.A.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there you go.
And then Andre Reed was 5th.
Love
And
it.
then Anthony Miller, Webster Slaughter, Gary Clark, Tim McGee, Art Monk.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That was good.
But yeah, those are kind of the.
Sounds like the same little rascals.
I was about to
seem
say, sound like
kinda
the
haunt 'em
same.
there.
Yeah.
Well, once we started talking about Jerry, I was like, well, Jerry led the league in receiving yards like every year through that period. So
Yeah.
So
was like-
Jerry's won. The rest of us are going to fight for the 2nd spot.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can move on from old Andre Reed. But Uncle Doug, do you got another position player for us?
I do. Well, we might as well go back to that big 3 and go with Thurman Thomas.
I also
Okay.
have Thurman Thomas.
Yeah, I do as well.
Same here.
Yep, that makes fun.
Thurman's in the Hall of Fame. 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, 1991 MVP. He was Player of the Year a couple times. Played for 13 seasons, 12 of them with Buffalo. He did do 1 year in Miami, right at the end of his
Yeah,
career.
Miami. Yeah,
Yeah.
he only ran for 136 yards that
They
year.
probably
Yeah,
should've
that wasn't much.
just hung up the cleats.
Well, he only ran for 152 yards the year before that in Buffalo.
Yeah, but he had 12,000 yards, 65 touchdowns.
He also had almost 4,500 yards and 23 touchdowns through the air.
Yeah,
He's a
so
very nice receiving back.
oh, he was.
Very nice.
And I mean, he was a huge. I mean, obviously, by getting the MVP, he was a huge part of those Super Bowl teams.
Yeah, he was a beast there for probably 8 or 9 years.
What was the offense they ran, Uncle Doug? It was like
It's named after somebody.
a K
Was it like
K
keg something? Yeah.
K gun.
Oh,
There's a certain name, but it freaked everybody out at the time because no one knew how to handle it. And Thurman Thomas was a giant part of it because he caught the ball so much and was a great runner, kind of like what Marshall Faulk became for the Rams.
Yes, and they brought Jim Kelly in from the USFL.
Who could just
Right,
like-
and he had been in wide open spread offenses and things before.
I think
So
they
he
ran
was the perfect quarterback for that
Yeah.
offense.
I think if I remember correctly, for that time they ran like a high up tempo offense.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of an up tempo offense, and it was a lot of quick passing and just kind of Jim Kelly kind of just dissected things and kind of went at a fast pace. But there was a name for it.
Just the K gun, no
K-gun.
huddle offense. They didn't
Yeah.
huddle.
Okay.
It was named after Keith McKellar, a tight end for the Bills who was known for his speed and agility.
Oh, okay. Guess I didn't know what the name was.
The K and K gun comes from McKellar's nickname Killer.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So
Alrighty then. Well, Ray, do you have another Bills offensive player for us?
I do. He's more of a recent guy. He's a big crybaby. He's no longer with them. His name is Stephon Diggs.
I also have Stephon.
I have him as well.
yep, I
too.
do. Yep.
That's everybody?
Yeah.
Roger that.
Yeah, so we're what, 4 unanimous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at us, guys.
Yeah. Which will make it interesting after this.
Yeah.
I could just throw a wrinkle in it right off the bat.
Oh no.
So this is probably his most successful stint. He got all his Pro Bowl selections.
He might have had 1 year in Minnesota
Well, that's what got him to Buffalo, but
before.
I think all his Pro Bowls came here. Let's see. 5,372 yards in Buffalo, 12 a reception, 37 touchdowns, and 2/3 of his receptions he caught, 445 out of 644 in 4 years in Buffalo. And if he just shut up and quit crying, he probably would have had a way better time in Buffalo.
I mean, they pretty much just shipped him out for nothing just so they could get him out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid. But, I mean, they're trying to win. They're not trying to play, oh, yeah, let's have 85 egos here and let's play the chess game, you know. They've been hungry since them 4 ones they lost back in, what was it, the 90s? 80s
Yeah.
and 90s?
91, 92, 93, 94,
Yeah.
I think.
They really ain't on that bullshit no more.
All right. Well, we got what? 4 straight unanimous, and you guys gonna make me ruin it here?
Oh, God. Who's it gonna be?
Well, I am gonna go with the receiver.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with old Eric Molds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
I have him.
Yeah, there we go.
No shit, it's unanimous.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Freak alive, and Drew's up to screw it up.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Well, I thought it would be nice to have a big-bodied receiver, Eric Moulds. 6'2", 210. Made 3 Pro Bowls, couple All-Pros. Played 10 years in Buffalo, and in those 10 years, he had 9,100 yards on 13 yards a catch and 48 TDs. So he also, if you want to know, ran the ball 28 times for 157 yards and no touchdowns. But no, he was I wouldn't say great, but very good wide receiver for a good while there. And I remember him from when I was growing up, so I threw him on my team, and obviously everybody else did too.
Yeah.
5 straight unanimous. We're only 2 away, Drew. Come on, don't ruin this.
Yeah, it's like a game show right now.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up.
I'm afraid I'm going to. It's nothing crazy, but
It's just the Bills of Bear.
I say. So I went with another receiver. I went with old Lee Evans.
I have Lee Evans as
did I.
well.
Nope.
Oh, 1 away from remaining perfect. Ray, dude. Ray.
Well, he's third all time in receiving yards. He has almost 6,000 yards with the Bills. He has 43 touchdowns for his career. All came in Buffalo. He has 2 years of over 1,000 yards. He was just another solid receiver.
Well, here's the thing with Lee Evans. He had nobody to throw him the ball.
No.
That was like quarterback purgatory in Buffalo Bills between Kelly and Josh Allen. You had Bledsoe for a year or two. I think you had Flutie for a
Flutie.
year.
Oh,
You had, I think, one of the McNown boys was there. I think, you had a whole slog of bad quarterbacks.
The Bills were a hot mess for quite a while before Josh Allen kind of stabilized it.
I mean, I'll just pick his 3rd year in the league and see who his quarterback was. Bang. And we are looking at none other than J.P. Losman.
There you go.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, J.P. Losman. Ray, do you even know who J.P. Losman is?
No.
No, see, there you go. Ray hosts a sports podcast and doesn't know who that guy is. So, I mean, how many people do? Then in his 5th year in the league, it's old Trent Edwards.
Good guy.
Technically, I'm not the host. I run the computer.
That's true. You're on a sports podcast.
Well, we also don't talk about hockey, so
That's true. That's true. We don't talk about hockey.
yeah.
It's very true. Yes. Wayne Gretzky's the greatest. There. We talked about hockey for you, right?
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, that hockey's pretty easy with that, who the best is. I mean,
All right. Well, do we have anything else to add on old Lee Evans? Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was really fast, right? He was like a speed deep threat, right?
I think so, yeah. Because he averaged over, I think, 15 yards a reception for his career.
Yeah,
I think a couple of years it was more than that. So I'm guessing, yeah, he would be a deep threat.
Yeah, his rookie season, he averaged 17.5 yards a catch. Yeah, Oh, his last year in the league in Baltimore, though, he averaged 18.5 yards a catch.
Oh, okay.
I mean, probably old Joe Flacco throwing the ball.
Old Joe.
All right. Well, anyway, so I think we're back to Wade.
Indeed. Well, I went back and forth on this for a while because there's a few other running backs that I thought you could throw in there that could be really good for this situation. And I just ended up going with the best, most talented guy, which is O.J. Simpson.
I
Yeah.
did too.
There you go.
I really
Couldn't find any receivers I also wanted. No tight ends.
really considered LaShawn McCoy because he had the end of his
Yeah.
prime was there, and he had a
He
couple.
did have good hands, yeah.
He caught a lot of passes. And then I thought, well, James Cook, the guy there now, is a good young talented guy, and he catches the ball a little
He
bit.
hasn't been there long.
Yeah, it's been,
enough.
what, 2
Yeah.
years?
Yeah. I mean, he can do
And
both.
OJ. I mean, people just don't talk about him because he's OJ Simpson. but he's one of the greatest.
Talk about other things. OJ.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
more
we're
than
not drafting him because of his murder skills.
we want OJ back in the 70s, not
Let's be
90s
honest.
OJ.
The greatest rushing season ever is probably OJ. He ran for 2,000 yards in 14 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty nuts.
Now you can't forget about cable stealing OJ.
OJ did a lot of things
He did.
after football.
Incorrect. Those Buffalo teams weren't very good, right?
Oh, OJ's? No.
They were
No, they weren't.
terrible.
I think did you
And-
say it on or off air? He's one of the ones to win MVP and not make playoffs.
Not make
Yeah,
playoffs,
there's
yeah.
two players in the history of the NFL to win MVP and not make the playoffs, and it's O.J. Simpson and Johnny Unitas.
He only played in one playoff game his whole career,
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, Buffalo was not great back then.
And-
It was all OJ.
and he got completely shut down.
Well, I think that when you're on those bad teams, they literally just swarm the line of
Yeah.
scrimmage. They did that to Barry a couple of times in Detroit. He had one really, really, really bad playoff game, but they literally just everyone would just stack the line of scrimmage and just attacked. And there's just
Well, especially back then, whoever the Bills quarterback is,
Yeah.
they're not throwing the ball.
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong. When OJ retired, he was the all-time leading rusher, wasn't he? Or was it Jim Brown?
I thought he did. I thought he passed Jim Brown. Maybe I'm wrong though.
I was thinking
got-
it was Jim Brown.
It's Jim
but
Brown.
He's got how many yards does Jim Brown have? Because OJ has a little over 11,000.
Jim
I
Brown
think
had
Jim Brown's
12.
12.
Okay.
Because when Walter broke it, he didn't want
Yeah, I
to.
think Walter broke Jim's record.
Yes.
So it was Jim and then probably OJ right after him.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because at that point, all the other big dogs wouldn't have come along yet. Like the ones that are still up there in the record books, I don't think. I knew he got up there. He was one or two. I just can't remember if it was him or Jim Brown. And he still caught the ball a little bit, even in an era where they didn't necessarily do that a lot. He still ended his career with over 2,000 receiving yards and over 200 receptions. So, yeah, I think he was capable. And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
one of the greatest runners of the football ever. So, I think he could definitely come in handy in a 7-on-7 setting.
Yep, I agree. Well, is that everybody but Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
all seven
Ray.
mine.
Who do you
Alright.
have, sir?
My final pick. It's a wide receiver. He played from 71 to 83. Started in Pittsburgh. Last 6 years in Buffalo. His name's Frank Lewis.
That's cool.
Um,
Frank Lewis.
269 receptions in Buffalo. 4,638 yards. 17.2 yards per reception with 24 touchdowns.
Yeah, he does average 17 yards of reception for his career.
And one Pro Bowl, which was in Buffalo. 2 Super Bowl titles, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he would 1-2 in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Hmm.
What years did Pittsburgh win?
Oh gosh, I haven't looked enough at that to remember what years they win.
I mean, they won 4
In the
in the
70s.
70s,
In
but
the
I'm saying
70s, yeah.
he was there from 71 to 78. So, like, how did he only win 2?
They win in 79-80, don't they? Or am I making that up?
I remember. You always think about them in the 70s.
49ers.
Well, it had to been between 71 and 77 because he was in Buffalo by 78, 79.
Right. Yeah. So, did they win the last 2 years of the 70s?
I think so.
They win in the 74, 75, 78, and 79.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So they win 2, take 2 years off, win 2 more.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
technically their last Super Bowl is in the Super Bowl's in 1980.
So, how do you
Yeah.
feel if
Both
you're
against the Rams.
if you're Frank Lewis or whoever this guy is, and you leave and your team immediately wins 2 Super Bowls?
Yeah.
You mean
that would-
Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
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 That's on Tyreek though,
who now wants to leave the Dolphins.
because they're not winning.
So you see, he like walked off the field, went to the locker room during the game last week.
It was just a
Mm.
They cropped a photo of his picture on AB's head of when Antonio Brown did it.
he just made a really
Someone said
Bad
either
choice.
today or yesterday, you can't complain when you're winning about not getting paid enough, and then leave, get paid. Now you complain about not winning. You can't.
Right.
well. Shannon Sharp destroyed him, and Shannon Sharp's like, you knew what you were leaving, and you, even if you won't want to admit it or not, you knew who your new quarterback was going to be. He's like, I'm not trying to insult Tua, but Tua was hurt throughout college, and if you're hurt in
Yeah.
college, usually you stay hurt in the pros, and then you leave the pros usually because you're hurt. And he's like, so you knew what you were walking into.
Yeah.
I just think he went down there to get a big paycheck because he's got like 8 baby mamas to pay for.
I think he had 8 kids this last year.
Well, I think he's pretty much said that, right? That I mean, he wanted money. It was
Oh yeah,
about going to
he wanted to
Miami.
get paid.
Yeah. So I don't think that's really up for debate. I think you're
And they either
completely
paid
right,
Mahomes or
Ray.
he knew they were going to pay Mahomes, and he was going to be at least second.
Then
Yeah.
it would come down to he or Kelsey, and he figured they'd pay Kelsey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Well, let's be honest. It at least appears like the Chiefs made a good decision.
Right? Yeah, they kept winning.
They kept
Yeah.
winning without him.
I mean, I was talking to some Chiefs fans at church last week, and they told me, "Hey, you guys should trade AJ Brown and get as much out of him as you can. Trading Tyreek Hill was the best thing we ever did."
Yeah.
I mean, they used that money. They did use that money on making smart investments on their defense and offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? Their defensive tackle. He'd be gone if they paid Tyreek.
Oh, right.
mean,
Yeah, Chris Jones would be
Yeah,
gone.
Chris Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of their
Yeah.
picks wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have some of these linemen and other
Yeah.
defensive guys that fit.
Outside of that tackle that lines up off sides every play, the rest of their offensive line is really good. That part, I'm really not joking. I mean,
Well, they keep
they have a couple.
hitting on cornerbacks every year. They never paid their
Yeah.
good corners.
You're right on that.
Since Marcus Peters, my
That-
track coach is a big Chiefs fan. I talked with him about it. He's like, we don't pay corners. Marcus Peters gone.
What about the
Who-
one they just traded to Tennessee?
Yeah, who's
He was like a first-team All-Pro, and they let him go.
They let him
but
go.
then another one steps up and they do just fine.
They had that Ward guy for.
Yeah,
a while.
Ward
They
was
let him
gone.
go.
And was it McLeod now is the good one?
Yeah, McDuffie, McLeod, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But like he says we don't ever pay him. We just once their rookie contract's over, we just let them go get
They're
their
all
paycheck.
really good right off the bat too.
hmm
And it's I don't know. How
I think
they do it.
Spagnuolo's a good defense coordinator.
He is.
They're doing something right.
Spagnola's very good.
Yeah, he
They have a
is.
good defense. That's what's
Why-
carrying them, sure.
Well, a
and people
lot-
forget.
Well, I mean, Andy Reid's also a badass offensive coach. So I mean,
I mean, there's a case to be made that Andy Reid is the best offensive coach of all time. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying there's a case to be made there.
Right.
He's definitely top 5 all time, without a
yeah.
doubt.
Well, now that he's got not just a ring, he's got rings. He's
Yes.
got a plethora of them, and now he's already super high on the all-time wins list. And then he had all that, and he proved that he could be successful with not just Mahomes, but he was really successful with the Eagles with McNabb and Jeff Garcia and whoever the hell else
Yeah, I
was there.
mean, with McNabb, he went to 4 straight
Vic.
NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl. It's not like he was.
He was almost always in the playoffs, even
Yeah.
with the guys after McNabb. McNabb was the best one of the bunch, but even the guys that were not as good as McNabb, he usually got
Kevin
to the
Cole.
playoffs. Yeah,
He had good runs with Alex Smith.
yeah,
He did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
He did.
Yeah.
he got a lot out of Alex Smith
He
actually,
did, yeah.
and I mean he groomed Kelsey into being kind of what he became, and
Why do you think nobody ever interviews? Because he doesn't even seem to get interviews. Spagnuolo for a head coaching job.
Because they went bad with the Rams.
Yeah, probably. See, he was defensive coordinator, I think, for the Giants.
Yeah, he was. And when they
Made
went to the
some
Super
big
Bowl,
runs there, and
Mhm.
then he became head coach at the Rams. And it just didn't go well.
some guys are great coordinators and just not. Great.
I think he's one of the guys. I think he's figured it out. He's in a good spot. He's enjoying it. He's being
Right.
successful.
You think-
Why?
you-
Why?
You think what's his name? Ben Johnson's gonna stay again?
I don't know. I think it's easier to do with an offensive guy than it is a defensive guy.
No, I just mean like he keeps choosing to stay
Oh.
instead of
Yeah.
going to be a head coach.
I don't
Because every
know.
year they ask to interview him, and he says no. They say,
He
He's
said he's going to interview for the Bears job.
He's a
"Oh,
venture.
he is."
He said he's going to.
Well, it'll be something like that. I think he's waiting for the one that.
He doesn't just want to go somewhere where he has no hope.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
Like
blame him
I think
for
some of
that
these job openings have no hope.
Imagine being this offensive guru and you get to mold Caleb Williams, and you have all these.
That's one of the things. Like, I think there's 6 openings right now. I think the
That's what I
Bears.
think.
I think the Bears.
What
Is,
are the si- what
I
are
think the
si-
Bears is the best one. Patriots, Raiders, Jaguars, Saints, Titans, and the Bears.
Yeah.
I believe are the 6. I think.
Well, I mean, I think most of them have something going for them, but yeah, the Bears might be the best spot. I mean, you have again with the Patriots, you have a good young quarterback that doesn't have much around him, and then the Saints are kind of a fucking disaster.
They're in cap hell.
Yeah.
They did that to themselves years ago.
The only thing, like the Patriots have Drake May, and they're gonna have like 120 million in cap room.
Yeah,
The Bears also have $75 million in cap.
That's pretty good.
I think it's fourth most.
Well, honestly, if a coach could come in there and I think really solidify your all's offensive line and then just work with Caleb Williams, I think that would be a lot of these gurus' dream. That's what they want to do. They want to mold a
We already have a good defense. It's not like we're
Yeah.
You've got receivers.
That's what I'm saying.
and a tight end.
It's
You
really
guys-
your offensive line was a disaster this year.
It was.
We gave up 68 sacks. That's the problem.
You've
Yeah.
got cap.
How
room.
many?
68.
And
We
you've
led
got-
the league with 68. He got sacked 68 times. That's the problem.
You've got the number 10 draft pick and 2 number 2s.
Well, they say our notable free agents are it's Keenan Allen's number 1, and then our center and our guard. I'm like, they're not notable for giving up 68 sacks. That's not a problem.
That
They're
center you've got, the Rams jettisoned 2 or 3 years ago.
yeah,
And our line wasn't that good when he was there.
Well, think about Caleb Williams though. How hard it would be to develop when you're getting sacked 68 times and you have all this dysfunction with Eberflus throughout the season. That's hard. I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence. He's been in dysfunction off and on throughout his whole career, and look how teeter-totter he is. And he was supposed to be the next Andrew Luck.
Oh, look what happens when you go somewhere that has like a really smart head coach and they get you to chill out and calm down, and they put you in a very high structured team and somebody that everybody thought their career was over, and now looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Sam Darnold.
Right.
Yeah. Like
Exactly.
your situation makes or breaks your career.
Mhm.
That's all there is to
I mean,
it.
we talked about Mahomes in one of the episodes about how if he went to the Bears instead of the Chiefs, he would not be the quarterback he is today.
Yeah.
no.
Well, look at Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the Bucks in the playoffs again.
He threw over 40 touchdowns this year.
Did he
Oh,
throw
wait.
40?
Yeah, he had to have.
Yeah, I think he's over.
He threw
40.
like 3 games with 5.
Yeah, I think he's somewhere in the low 40s.
I had him in one of my fantasy leagues, and he just.
He tore it
I
up.
just said Buda Baker instead of Baker Mayfield.
No, I mean, Caleb's rookie year wasn't bad. I'll take it. He threw for 3,520 touchdowns.
You're right. He threw 41 touchdowns this year.
Yeah. No, Caleb wasn't bad. I'm just saying. Imagine how much
I
better
just
it
the
could
Bears
be.
have to get an offensive guru. Like,
Yeah.
there's an offensive guy. We got to get away from the defensive.
You all have the guy who's supposed to carry your franchise for the future in the building. Now you just gotta start progressing that.
We have seen that mistake over and
Yeah.
over and over again over the last couple decades, where you go out and you draft a young quarterback in the first round and then bring in a defensive head coach. The Rams did it. Jeff Fisher with Jared Goff.
Yeah.
That was a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a stupid thing to do. Like, why would you not?
Well, they keep throwing names like Pete Carroll and Variable. I'm like, no.
Here's my
No.
Here's my thing. Pete Carroll, good coach. Mike Vrabel, I think Mike Vrabel's the best coach
I think he's a
available.
good coach, yeah.
I really do. But
Yeah.
yes, I don't want to bring Mike Vrabel in to coach my young quarterback unless Vrabel is tied to a like really good offensive coordinator.
Well, if you could bring in
He's tied to
Vrabel as your head
McDaniels.
coach and Kingsbury as your offensive
Well,
coordinator.
he's interviewing for the head coaching. Everyone's interviewing for this head coaching job. I like Brian Flores, but I don't want him to be our head coach.
Why did you guys ask to interview McCarthy?
I don't know. Ryan Pohl said we're interviewing everyone for the job. He's going to be people you expect, people you don't expect.
The only thing dumber than you guys asking to interview McCarthy was the fact that Dallas rejected your offer.
Yeah, said
I was
no.
like, what?
So now we got to wait till after January 14th.
Yeah, when his contract's technically.
Yeah, when it's technically up.
Yeah.
All right. Hate to break this up, but we still have a defense to do for
That's
the
true.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
That's true.
we gotta get moving.
All right.
So Ray, you want to help us fix this offense here?
Yeah.
So Lewis comes off, your pick goes to Evans, and we're done.
All right.
Look at
there we
us, offense done.
Damn,
It's
that's
actually a pretty
crazy.
nice team.
We got a quarterback,
Yeah.
It's a pretty good
2
offense.
running backs, and 4 receivers. I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty solid.
All right. Well, let's get started on the defense. Drew, who is your first defensive player?
Well, I went with old Tre'Davious White.
Yeah.
That's what
I do
Tre'Davious
too.
was.
Yeah. Same here.
He was one of the best corners in football for a while.
He was
With the Bills before he tore his ACL.
twice, in fact.
Yeah.
Alex, did you have him?
He was just he led the league one year in interceptions. I think that's his all-pro year. His first team all-pro year. He had 6. He's got 18 career interceptions, all with Buffalo. He's played 2 other years outside of Buffalo. Hasn't got a pick. But he was just one of their lockdown. And when their defense, I mean, their defense is fine now, but it's definitely the weak spot now. But like,
especially through the air.
Yeah, he's just one of their lockdown corners. There at the earlier parts of Josh Allen's before he got hurt. He was really good.
He was a beast.
He was one of the top corners you were talking about every year with who was the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of like Tre'Davious White. So,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he was one of the guys you talked about. Is he the best corner in the league for 2 or 3 years there?
Yeah.
And he was really good. And he was one of the rare corners that would come down and hit. He wasn't just a coverage guy.
and he played both sides. Like he would
Yeah.
he would follow the receivers around. He
Mhm.
didn't just stand on his side. Richard Sherman.
All right, well, Tre'Davious White it is.
Yeah.
And Wade, who do you got, sir?
Well, this guy's always been one of my favorite recent Bill players, and that would be Jordan Poyer.
I also have Jordan
I
Poyer.
have Jordan Poyer as well.
Oh, I do not. Sorry.
I have a weird thing with safeties and defensive backs. There's always a couple every generation I really like, and I just kind of follow them. And I've always liked Jordan Poyer and Harrison Smith and stuff around this time. And Jordan Poyer is just really good all-around safety. And even now in an advanced age, when he's lost some of his athleticism, he's still effective because he's smart. He's always in the right spot. He really just doesn't have a weakness in his game. He couldn't, he could come and help support the run. He was good dropping back in coverage. There for a few years, him and Micah Hyde were the best safety duo in the league. PFF loved them for a couple years. And then even as they started aging there, the last year or two they were still in Buffalo, they were still pretty effective.
Yeah, and he played 7 years in Buffalo, and he averaged almost 100 tackles a year.
Yeah.
And almost 2 sacks a year out of the safety spot.
And he usually got a couple interceptions.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, so 22. So over 3 a year. So.
I mean, 100 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 sacks a year. I mean, that's all around brilliance right there. I mean, yeah.
You take that.
I was always a big Jordan Poyer fan. Thought he was really good.
Yep. All right, Uncle Doug, do you have a Bills defensive player for us?
I do. Give me just a second here. I'm calling him up. Nate Odoms.
I have Nate Odoms.
Yep.
I do too.
Yep.
So that's 5.
Yeah, that's 5. Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, Uncle Doug, do you have anything to tell us about?
He played from 87 to 93. 87 to 93 with Buffalo. Sorry. Missed a year because of injury and finished up his career in Atlanta. 26 interceptions, led the league in 93 with 9. Couple forced fumbles, few fumble recoveries. 383 tackles. Couple of Pro Bowls. First team and a second team. He was also finished 7th in the Defensive Player of the year that he had the 9 interceptions. Just a solid corner.
And we can't get enough of those in 7-on-7.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I think corners are very valuable.
So yeah. All right. Well, we've got 3 guys up there, and 2 of them are unanimous. So, Ray, do you want to continue that trend?
Yeah. I'm gonna throw up another Nate. Nate Clements.
I also have.
I have him as
You
well.
as well.
Me
There
too.
we go.
Look at you, Ray.
I know. Crazy. Let's see. He played 6 years in Buffalo with a Pro Bowl under his belt while he was there. 96 games. Started 91. 23 interceptions. 5 for touchdown. Let's see. What else do we got here? 6 fumble recoveries. 12 forced fumbles. And 354 solo tackles. So, yeah. 23 interceptions in 6 years.
He was a good, solid player for a while.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. I would agree with that. All right, well, I guess we're around to me. And I have none other than Terrence McGee. Another corner. Corner heavy. And I guess I'm the only one because nobody's speaking up.
Yeah.
Double check. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
I don't have old Terrence.
don't have that one.
He played 10 years in Buffalo from 03 to 2012. Played his whole career in Buffalo, in fact. Like I said, at corner. And has 17 interceptions, 1 return for touchdown, 3 sacks. He's got,
Ooh.
500 tackles, 2 All-Pros.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah. And he was born in October. So,
There you go.
There you go.
What the hell does that mean?
Hey.
that just automatically makes you great.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Terrence McGee.
I'm glad birth month is now starting to play a factor in your picks.
Drew, you got somebody for us?
I do. I have old Micah Hyde.
Me too.
I do
me
too.
Well,
put
nobody
the
gets there with
football
that
boy.
one.
I was gonna put them together.
Yep.
He, like I said, another newer guy that new good defense. This is the third piece to it: Tre'Davious, Hyde, and Boyer. The 3 of them. He has 16 interceptions with the Bills. Like I said, he was the other half. He has 2 All-Pros in Buffalo. He was just another good all-around safety as well. I don't know. I just remember it was always I'm hearing Hyde or Poyer were always the 2 safeties. So, and I think
I mean, Hyde's biggest problem there at the end in Buffalo was he couldn't stay healthy.
yeah,
He had injury problems there at the end, but otherwise he was really good for them.
What month was he born in?
December
That's
Oh, there we go.
December 31st, New Year's
New
Eve.
Year's Eve, baby. That stinks for him.
Yeah. Well, until we got to 21.
Still, though, nobody's celebrating your birthday. They're just celebrating New Year's.
Yeah, but I mean, you go to them college parties, be like, it's my birthday. And I'm sure he's getting a lively reception for that.
That's fair. All right. Now we're at what, Wade?
Yeah.
Oh, who you got,
I
buddy?
believe so. I have Stephon Gilmore.
I do
I
too.
do too.
Yep.
Which is my last guy.
Stephon Gilmore. I mean, the beginning of Stephon Gilmore's career was with Buffalo, and I think a lot of people sometimes forget that because he just wasn't. He made a Pro Bowl there, and he had some nice seasons there. But he just wasn't really that popular of a player. I think he just kind of got overshadowed a little bit when he was in Buffalo. And then when he went to New England, obviously New England was a powerhouse, and then he helped them win a Super Bowl or 2, whatever it was, and went on to great things in New England. But he was really good for 2 or 3 years in Buffalo first, and became their lockdown corner. And that's why New England went out and got him, because he became one of the best corners in the game with Buffalo. But at that point in time, Buffalo just wasn't a contender. Not very many people knew about old Stephon.
He had a decent year this year in Minnesota.
I mean, he's put together quite the resume for a Hall of Fame case, accolade wise.
Alrighty. Well, Uncle Doug, you got another one?
I do. I went old school. I haven't gone old school for a while. Butch Bird.
Yeah.
I saw him on some lists.
And he only played for about 8 years. He 112 games, had 40 interceptions in that time. I believe he is the Bills' leading interceptor. He ran 5 of them back for touchdowns. Had about 10 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries. He made 5 Pro Bowls, and he made 3 first-team All-Pros and another second-team All-Pro.
So 4 All-Pros in 8 years. That ain't bad.
So, and he played from 64 through 71.
Yeah, 40 interceptions in 8 years.
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
nice.
it's 7, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and 4.
Well, technically, he had 40 interceptions in 7 years because last year he didn't have one.
Right, and he was 14-game seasons. So,
Yeah.
so you figure he had 112 games, had 40 interceptions.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah, I thought he was all right.
Yeah.
So you and me, Ray?
Yeah,
All right.
All right. Well, Ray. Speaking of Ray, do you have another person?
I do. He's a little bit older, 80s to 90s. Played 8 years in Buffalo. 93, he received the Alan Page Award. He started 95.
I would like a description of what the Alan Page Award is.
That's why you got Google. He started 95 out of 99 games, 30 interceptions in 8 years, 1 for a touchdown, 8 fumble recoveries, 1 of those for a touchdown, and I can't tell you anything about the tackles. But yeah,
But who is he?
his name is Mark Kelso.
I have him as well, Ray.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's I don't know. But hey, I'll take your word for it, Ray.
The Alan Page Award is a community award.
Yeah. See, the freaking nice guy.
All right.
He looks like a nerd.
The nerd
He's
is.
pretty good safety, though.
Yes. Ball hawk the shit out you.
Yeah, you're right. There's no tackles on here. Even though he played until 1993.
Yeah, that whole tackle thing is kind of ridiculous.
So you're telling me Buffalo didn't keep track of tackles in the 90s?
Some teams didn't. We figured that out. And some teams did in the 70s.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, they couldn't win Super Bowls. Why keep track of tackles?
So he would have been playing with Kelly and Thomas and Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd been on the defense, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
He's
Well-
actually drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Look at that. You're right. In the 10th round. All right. Well, does anybody have anybody left?
I got 2.
I have one.
I have one.
I'm done.
Damn, I've been done for 3 picks.
You could have 5 more.
Hey, go
Or
ahead.
4 more.
Go ahead, Drew.
I was old George Sames.
Sames.
Saimes.
I thought about him.
He on a couple lists is their number 1 defensive back of all time. The Bills love this man. He has 5 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros, 2 AFL championships. He has 22 career interceptions.
Drew, what are we doing here, bro?
The Bills love him. He's at the top of some of these lists.
Drew, the Bears love Sid Luckman.
We just don't. We just don't. But just another good safety. And you know how I like my old white safeties.
No, I wouldn't even go that far. You just love old white.
No,
Like,
old white
old
safeties, Paul Krause. Bob Pettit knew how to. He was a ball hawking machine getting rebounds.
Oh, Paul Arizin too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all had a knack for the ball.
Kind of like Tom Chambers.
He didn't have a knack for the ball. He's kind of clumsy on his feet.
Do you know?
He had to have Magic Johnson throw him lobs.
Do
Other
you-
than that, he couldn't do
Do
anything.
you know what Tom Chambers
Oh,
would
here
do
we
to Bob Pettit? Do you have any idea
Get him a soda.
the destruction that would happen if we put them on a basketball court together?
Bob would let him know how to ball. He'd be like, "Come over here, son."
Oh no! Oh no!
Let me show you how we did things back in the day.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go work my 9 to 5 afterwards.
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
Yeah, that's my boy, George. I'm sticking with it for now. Maybe.
My guy's not too much younger. He's just a hair younger.
Oh man, Wade, go ahead. Buddy.
This
We have 15 guys on defense.
is kind of my wild card. I was going through some of these lists, and this guy just kind of struck a chord with me, and I got to reading about him. This guy was ranking the greatest defensive backs in Bills history, and this is what he said. I'll just read part of the article. Let's see. I wanted to put the highest peak seasons at top, and the highest peak seasons in Bills history belong to a man named Robert James. In 73 and 74, he was the unanimous first-team All-Pro and was likely the best cornerback in the NFL for those 2 seasons before a knee injury ruined his career.
Well, I typed in Robert James, and a British actor came up, and an American chess grandmaster came up. I don't have a football player yet.
Keep scrolling, baby. He played in the 70s.
69 to 74.
Yep.
Ooh, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All Pro.
Alex can't find him. He's finding places, Facebook.
Yeah, I also have the Robert James collection, which is a furniture manufacturer in North Carolina.
Oh, I found him.
Did you try Football Reference?
Oh no, I just typed him into
Oh,
Google.
See, mine pops up right away too, like Wade's did. Nice.
Look, you see what I?
I know. No, Alex is literally just typing it in. This
Don't-
collection is popping up.
Everybody be aware, Alex is using Netscape Navigator.
I don't know what that is.
Exactly, that's how old it is.
Yeah, I just came across that. Thought it was interesting.
Looks like we all find it interesting,
Yeah,
fella.
I was like,
And Ray, you said you have 2 more?
apparently this guy was the fucking man. for 2
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Mm.
Uncle Doug, are you done too?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Are you two done now?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, next up for me is
Oh boy.
Charles Romes.
Tell us about him.
Tell me all about him.
Charles
All right,
what?
I will. Give me one
the
second.
knowledge.
Charles with a C. Romes.
I know. I'm talking about Charles. This is and Rome's.
Romes.
Well, he came up. So
Let's see.
I miss Buffalo's red helmets.
He was drafted in 77 to Buffalo. He played 10 years in Buffalo. He had 28 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. Fumble recoveries 8. Let's see, and no tackles.
Not the craziest pick you've had, Ray, but
No.
don't mind old Charles.
Okay.
I still
No,
find
good.
it funny that we still bring up defensive touchdowns because in the very first football episode, he didn't put Mean Joe Green on because he didn't have a defensive touchdown. We still bring it up to this day.
Yep.
All right, and then my final pick is Tony Green. Yeah,
I looked
Tony
at Tony.
Green. Played from 71 to 79, all with Buffalo. He's a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro. 37 interceptions in 9 years. 2 for touchdown. 13 fumble recoveries. 1 sack. There you go. Tony Green.
Tony Green, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I found a Tony Green on Football Reference. We played only 1 year in Washington, so I guess it's not this Tony Green.
Yeah, you're definitely way off.
We really fell apart at the end, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was like looking at me when I had Terrence McGee.
We were kind
And-
of tearing it up the first 3-4 picks.
All right, well, I'm gonna come off Terrence McGee.
Oh, I forgot Ray had the scroll. Oh gosh.
All right, McGee's off for.
I knew exactly who I was going to, and now I don't know.
Is he up there? Does Ray need to scroll?
trying to think.
Do you have Hyde and Poyer?
Yeah, I have everybody down to Gilmore.
Okay.
No.
So you're gonna go to Bird?
Yeah, no,
You
I
gonna come to my boy George?
Boy George. Yeah, Boy George. I don't think so.
Do you really wanna make
find
me
Oh, I want to go
cry?
to. Is it this guy? No. It's it was
Pick
Uncle
a guy
Doug's.
from the
It's like,
'70s.
was
Bird.
it
Kelsey?
Bird.
Butch?
Bird.
Yeah, Butch Bird. That's who it was. That's what I want. I want Butch Bird.
Yeah.
He's got
Three.
some.
Okay.
I believe he is the team's leading interceptor with 40.
Wade, you want to come on?
in
Our
7
old
seasons.
guy.
Yeah,
go
in
to
7
their old guy.
seasons.
Go to Bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, Wade and I will go to Bird. We're finally getting in.
From
I'm going from Sames to Bird.
I'm going from Robert James to Bird.
Ooh, look at that. Getting rid of 2 more ones.
We figured
All
just
right.
take out our
Thank you,
old
guys.
guys and I'll come to one.
Yeah,
That works.
No big deal.
not at all.
okay, so I
We
got
need to get
five.
Gilmore, Hyde, and Poyer.
Yeah, we need to get Gilmore in there and Hyde in there.
Okay.
Poyer.
All right, so I have to
I need
get
my young safeties.
Doesn't one of the ones up top only have 3?
Poyer.
Yeah, Poyer only has
Poyer.
3. We
Who's got Poyer left off other than Ray?
Dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I'll go to Poyer. Blah blah.
From.
Whoever I deleted.
Okay.
Tony Green?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, and let's see who else we got here. Then I'll go to from my
Who
ri-
doesn't have Hyde?
I don't,
Oh, okay.
but I do now.
All right. So Hyde's in. Sweet.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And me and Doug have Mark Kelso.
Well, if you want to come off Kelso and go to Gilmore, I'll come off Kelso and go to Poyer. And we're
Yeah.
in.
There we
There
go.
you
Okay.
Look at us.
Perfect.
Look at us.
Really, the
Perfecto.
Bills aren't too bad. They're pretty solid.
No.
Yeah, they're solid. I can see them winning around.
Yeah. I didn't know how the defense was going to go. I thought the offense was going to be.
The offense is pretty good, and the defense.
The defense is better than what I
Okay.
thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they can definitely win
not too bad at
the
all.
game.
Well, we've got like 5 corners and a couple quality safeties, so
Yeah, that's pretty.
we
Nice.
got to be pretty good.
Their offense is pretty well rounded, and
All right. Well, that wraps up our Bills 7-on-7 talk.
should we
Did you want to read the
tell them
list?
the names?
Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Are you
So-
okay over there tonight?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Okay.
I'm good. The Bills' offense would be none other than Josh Allen, Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas, Stephon Diggs, Eric Moulds, Lee Evans, and O.J. the Murderer Simpson.
The glove didn't fit, Alex.
That's right. You must have quit.
It's OJ the Juice Man.
And then on defense, you had Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer. I don't remember Odom's first name.
Nate.
Nate.
Oh, Nate Odoms and Nate Clements.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. Micah Hyde, Stephon Gilmore, and who was Bird's first name?
Butch.
Butch. Yeah, Butch Bird.
Butch Bird.
Butch Bird.
catchy.
Double B.
So yes, there's some Bills. Now we're done with the Bills 7-on-7, and will lead us into MVP talk, which this year we will be discussing is what did we say? 1994,
91.
91. I apologize. The 1991 NFL MVP. Which team do you think this guy came from?
Oh, that no.
Chicago.
Oh man, you're so close.
Damn.
But it is none other than the Bills and Thurman Thomas, somebody that was actually on our team.
Oh, okay.
He
That
won
makes sense.
the award in 1991, and we're going to talk about it because it's an interesting one. Like I said, Thurman Thomas won fairly handedly, actually. And he, in 15 games, ran for 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns. He also caught 62 balls for 631 yards and 5 more touchdowns.
That's what he had for MVP?
Yeah.
Gee.
And then you had second was his teammate and quarterback, Jim Kelly,
Okay.
who threw for 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 17 picks. And he ran for 45 yards and 1 touchdown.
That's pretty
Okay.
nice passing numbers for them.
Yeah. And third was none other than the great Barry Sanders, running back from the Detroit Lions, who ran for 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns and caught 41 balls for 307 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, that's a little better.
And then Mark Ripon of the Redskins
Mm-hmm.
threw for 3,500 yards and 28 touchdowns and 11 picks. And he ran for 6 yards and 1 touchdown. And Seth Joyner from the Eagles, a linebacker who had 6.5 sacks and 3 INTs, came in 5th.
You know, I love me some Barry. Barry's one of my favorite players. So
I do like Barry. I have not. I mean, I think we talked about this off air, so I guess it's new to the listeners. But Barry has like 140 more yards rushing, I guess.
Yeah, it's what, 5 more total touchdowns?
Yeah,
we had 9 more rushing. And
yeah.
Thomas has 4 more
Receiving.
gotcha.
So like I said, 141 more rushing yards. He has 325 less receiving yards. So
But he's got the touch. What's the yards per carry difference there between Thomas and
I have to look.
Sanders?
Thurman Thomas in 91 was 4.9, led the league.
All right.
And Barry, I'm going to assume wasn't that good because Thurman led the league, but 91 was 4.5.
Okay.
Oh,
Terrible.
so splitting hairs here.
I don't know. 0.4 of a yard is a decent amount of difference in yards to carry.
It is. 4.9's really good. 4.5's pretty solid.
And Buffalo was 13-3, and the Lions were 12-4.
Well, I guess,
I don't know.
correct me if I'm wrong, does it kind of come down to their circumstances? I mean, is Barry doing that with the Lions more impressive than Thurman doing that with the number 2 MVP candidate right behind him?
That's a fair assessment.
And
Right. Probably had Andre Reed catching the
Yeah.
ball.
You have Bruce Smith on the
yeah, the
other side of
all-time
the ball.
sack leader on D. I mean, yeah.
All right. Well, let me deflate your point here because I have the Lions quarterback pulled up here, and Eric Kramer threw for 1,600 yards and 11 touchdowns. So,
Each quarterback won 6 games.
Yeah. Okay.
There's 2 of them that won 6.
Yeah.
yeah, Rodney Peete also played that year and threw for 1,300 yards. So why don't you rethink the Lions don't have a quarterback stuff? So
Each running back had 5 fumbles, by the way.
Okay.
Well, so quarterback combined was 2,900 yards. How many touchdowns did they have combined?
16
Okay.
And Jim
and 17 picks.
Kelly. Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm going Barry.
Thurman had a great year, but yeah, I think
I don't think an
Barry's more
extra
impressive.
160 receiving yards is going to do it for me.
It was 300.
I know, but if I'm taking out total yards, so if
Gotcha.
if I subtract in my head, I should have said 160 total yards. I don't know if that's really
Barry
Right.
took that quarterback situation to 12 wins.
and almost to a Super Bowl.
No, I really think Wade's right. Like Barry didn't have a better statistical season, really. Like their seasons are very similar.
Oh yeah.
It's just that
Yeah.
Barry did it on a far worse team.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Thurman's-
was the team in Detroit.
Thurman's all-around season is really nice.
Yes.
But honestly, if he had a higher touchdown total, I'd probably give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Barry has the high touchdown total, has the more rushing yards. Obviously, Thurman has a really nice receiving year and eclipses Barry in that by a decent margin. But the low rushing touchdown numbers, and then just, when you think of MVPs for a running back, you're either like breaking the single season rushing record or you have a massive amount of touchdowns usually. And I don't know. And then he's, when your quarterback's throwing for 33 touchdowns, maybe that factors in, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I could see it going either way, but yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I think I would say that this was Barry's MVP.
Yeah.
Nothing against Thurman Thomas.
No, Thurman had a great year,
He did.
but he was just on a much better team.
Two great Oklahoma State running backs.
Yeah. Yeah, Barry replaced Thurman at Oklahoma State, I believe.
Yeah, that's wild. Back to back.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Back to back Hall of Fame running backs at your college.
Mm.
All right, well, I think that wraps up MVP talk, and we appreciate you tuning in for this Buffalo Bills episode. And we really want you to tune in, even though it's a crap franchise. But tune in next week for the New England Patriots.
I'm excited.
I'm not gonna lie, next week's gonna be depressing because the Patriots team's so fucking good.
Oh, it's gonna be a
It's
good team.
ridiculous.
They're probably gonna win the tournament.
But thanks.
Don't say that.
Oh, Ray.
They're loaded.
Oh, yeah.
They're loaded to the fucking gills.
Yeah, they are. And thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.